Welcome to Hometown Headlines. This is Liam.
This is Weston.
Reporting live from Fulda, Minnesota, where we talk about all news Marshall County Central. So for the weather, it's been consistently high 30s. It's going to go like this for the 7-day forecast. And last week it was about high 30s too. So for now it's kind of staying consistent with that. And it's going to be sloppy roads and slight rain. So careful driving. We got a lot less snow now. Most of the snow is kind of melted off, and the only snow that is really left is either soft snow or slush.
So it's finally getting warm again, almost spring. It's very good because I've been dying in this cold winter. I don't know why. A lot of kids like winter, but I don't really know why. In the starting, when they got snow in the starting days, so I'm like, oh yay, it's snow. Like, I was like celebrating so much, and then you get in the middle of winter and you're like, boo, this sucks. I hate winter.
Yeah, that kind of goes to summer sometimes too, though, where we're just hoping our big pile of snow pops out in the middle of nowhere. And when during the winter, you just hope it turns into spring as soon as possible. So, we're gonna add on a field reporter. So Russell Waterworth is gonna help us with some. Yep, he's gonna help us with some weather and farm reports. So he's gonna kind of go around his farm. He's gonna tell the differences between crops and this thing, and he's kind of just gonna give us help with he's gonna kind of tell us about the weather and stuff. And he's gonna help us a lot with our reports.
And the good thing about it, he's gonna be outside while we're talking about it. And then he'll come show you guys
how his farm's doing what.
Oh, he'll show you guys the crops, and he'll show you guys the inches of snow. He'll do all that stuff.
Yep. So you guys are probably wondering who this guy is. He's Grant Nelson. We're gonna introduce him in now. He's kind of a professional writer and a radio host. We're gonna interview him towards the end of the episode too. So for now, Wilkestrom is a telephone company. And they want to build a tall tower in the middle of the city. The city's saying basically that they don't want a tower there. The tower's going to be too tall. And the telephone company says, we need it there, there's going to be no signal. It's not going to take up that much space anyways. It's just going to be super tall and not even really that wide. So, what do you think on that?
I don't know. I don't know why they're fighting like that. Cause if I was in a city, it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice to have a big tall building there, and the phone services and stuff. That'd be a nice big community there. So that would really help our community. And yeah.
Yep. So Middle River Middle River had a dance recital. We have 2 cousins that are in dance.
One sister used to be in it, but now she's in the Fulton dance.
Yep, now she's doing the Fulton dance. She's still doing dance, just for a different town. It was really fun. Well, what I heard at least, Amelia and Mom went there.
We didn't go because we kind of had one of our sisters was sick, so we had to stay home and watch her.
Yep. We had to do some chores too.
Yeah, not really.
Yeah. So Thief River Fall Hoops did an elementary basketball tournament. I was there. My team got second place. On the first game, I got a lot of rebounds, and I got 2 points, I believe. And then on the second game, I got a lot of steals and another 2 points. And then the last game, I got 3 points and another lot of steals and rebounds.
So we got third place, a little bit less, but I got player of the game 2 times, which is like a Gatorade that they give out. This is the first time I've actually ever seen them do it. But I got 2 of them out of all 3 games we played. So we lost the Thief River barely, but we have really good defense. So we only got them 14 points. And we beat the Ponies. They're a really good team. I played really good. I had a bunch of points. I had at least 15 steals. And I averaged 7 points a game, I think. And I had 2 rebounds. I'm not really a rebounding guy, so yeah.
So I know that 4th grade boys got 3rd place, just like Weston, and we never heard of the 6th grade boys. So, let's start interviewing Grant Nelson now. So, why did you start writing?
Liam and Weston, thanks for having me on Hometown Headlines. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I guess I had some stories I wanted to tell.
Yep.
Some of them were from my dad, and I also wanted to talk about Viking a lot, because I'm from Viking too, and I love my hometown. And I think the other thing was probably writing comes down to connecting with people. I mean,
Yep.
you want to explain yourself in such a way that others understand what you're saying and can appreciate what your thoughts are. And I think that's probably the driving factor that keeps me going, because sometimes, you don't always have a subject and you're like, no, I really enjoy doing this, so I want to find a subject.
Yeah, definitely. So that sounds like you really love being a writer. Huh?
Yeah, I do. It's one of the big things I'll always do.
Yeah, you said you had so many stories to tell. What were those stories?
Well, the first one was my dad talking about paint your wagon. When his FFA advisor back in Thief River Falls back in 1943 had told him that when you have a rainy day, you shouldn't go out and be messing around. You should paint your wagon. So that was, I think, that was one of the first ones I wrote about. Another one I wrote about was probably this bull that I had. This was back 20-some years ago, and I really cared a lot about them. And I had a couple cows I really cared about, and I want to talk about them. And then just old memories that I had from Viking. Of course, they weren't so old back then, but as time progressed, they've gotten older.
Yep, they got older. So, when did you get the opportunities to start doing writing?
I pestered the Grand Forks Herald yesteryears enough so that they let me put in a couple. He liked what I did. Cam Bachmeyer was the editor back then. He liked what I did. So for the next 5.5 years, I think it was, I wrote columns for that portion of the Herald for free. I did it for free.
Oh, you did?
And then I went onto the Fargo Forum's Area Voices. I did that for about 2.5 years. And then I came back in 2007. I didn't really have anybody to publish, so I went to, I thought, well, I always wanted to be on my hometown newspaper, so I went to the Thief River Falls Times, asked Dave Hill, and I got on, and that's pretty much where I've stayed. And of course, that progressed into other things, like, I mean, I had this column, and I loved radio, so I wanted to do a podcast.
Yeah. So, you must have been really interested in doing this writing if you did it. If I heard in the Future Student Institute did it for free, and that really surprised me. So you must love writing a lot.
I did. It felt so good to see when you see your words published, just like when you see a podcast or when you see a video blog on air, it's like, oh, that feels good. I did something. I made my mark,
Yep, that kind of happens to me in Weston too. Like when we make another podcast, that's just another podcast on air.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. So, what do you enjoy the most about writing?
I think the best thing I like about writing, actually writing or podcasting, is finding something that people didn't know about, maybe something from history, and telling them about it and thinking, okay, no matter what, that's on the internet now, that's in a newspaper. Hopefully somewhere down the line, somebody will find that. Maybe a person reads it and they go, oh, that's kind of interesting or whatever. Well, maybe 30 years from now, it'll be an important part of the local history. And I like finding those little stories or just my own personal stories and digging those out, writing them out, making them something that people can enjoy, and then just hoping that they have legs and they keep on going for a few years.
Yep. So, what do you think is the most important about writing?
Accuracy. Accuracy is huge.
Yep.
If you're not accurate, people go, nah, whatever. They're not going to listen to you. And then
Yep.
being concise, even if it's something that's a hard subject, being concise and fairly brief. I mean, I try to do everything. Every one of my paragraphs is usually 2 or 3 to no more than 4 sentences.
Yep.
And I try to really think through everything enough so that it doesn't get bogged down in a lot of writing. I try to be concise and quick.
Yep. So, our last person that we interviewed, she also said, when we asked what the most important thing is about doing a job, is being accurate. Yeah. So I'm guessing that must be a really
big thing.
accurate thing.
It's
with
huge.
All the different news people.
Yeah, it is. It's if you don't have the people to believe in you, they can't believe in what you say, you got nothing.
Yep. So, what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, besides writing and podcasting, I do a lot of other things involved, like with boards and that sort of thing. And a lot of those are watershed boards, that sort of thing. And I just hope that, when you look back at my life, there's a body of work that I've done that's been beneficial to people and beneficial to how they live their lives and made their lives more enjoyable. I mean, I always think I hope I make somebody's Sunday morning happy.
Yep.
When they crack open the paper and they look, they go, all right, that makes them feel good. And no matter what they got going on in their life, if they're going to go back to work on Monday and they're worried about it, they can at least have that moment where they just kind of go, that feels good. So
Yeah.
I'd like just to have a positive influence on everything. That's what I'd like to do.
Yep. So, what do you think would be the most important thing to put into one of your podcasts?
Well, I guess really just the truth. Even if it makes people I don't do a lot of controversial stuff. I really don't. But if it's something that I know is going to maybe run people the wrong way, I don't like politics or anything like that. But if it's the truth, I guess maybe having the courage to put the truth in all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're going to put something into a podcast, you definitely want it to be the truth.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yep. So, do you have any questions for him?
What made you become a writer?
I think, okay, I'll tell you something. When I was younger than you guys are, I used to put together a magazine at home. I was like 7 years old, 5 years old. And I'd put together a magazine, clip it together, and put pictures on it. And I'd write little stories and stuff. And I'd try and sell it to my uncle for a dime.
Really?
And he'd go, okay, here's a dime. Go, So there's something about me that I've always wanted to have that connection of putting out information and making it, present it in a nice way. I think that's a big part of it. That's something about me I always wanted to. Matter of fact, when I had to write a letter my senior year, and they asked me, what do you see yourself doing as an adult? And I said, I'll be a news director of a small radio station.
Yep.
And I didn't do that until I was in my mid-50s, but I did do it. So, there was something I always wanted to do it.
So you've always kind of wanted to be like a writer or a
Always.
person.
Absolutely. Yep.
So thank you for being on this podcast.
Thank you for having you both. It was really fun.
Yep.
Thanks.
So this is Liam.
This is Weston.
See you in the next episode.